Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Q.U.B.E Director's Cut, Q.U.B.E. So we're solving puzzles and getting the door slammed in our face. We might be close to the end of section 4, heck, we might be close to the end of section 5.
Okay, fingers crossed you can hear me again.
We're back to listening to her.
Actually, two pieces of good news. We've started to see a definite effect on the cube itself. Parts of the outer layer seem to be coming apart. Whatever you're doing in there is working great.
Why is solving the puzzle breaking it up?
Mission control say you're almost close enough for them to contact you directly. So we're going to organize a link up to your wife. She is dying to talk to you. Just keep going, and we'll make it happen. I'm orbiting out of range again, so good luck. And be careful.
The time it takes her to orbit out of range seems to change, and it should be very consistent. Like it seems to get shorter sometimes and longer. So she's dangling. Just keep doing what you're doing and we'll let you speak to your wife. One assumes that is a reward and not a punishment. Who knows? You don't have any memories. You don't even know if you really have a wife. They are setting it up where if I was writing this, you could get a very mustache twirling bad guy reveal where they just laugh at you and say, hey, haha, you don't have a wife, you don't have anything, you're nobody. But that's exactly GLaDOS from Portal, so we've seen it before. It's ridiculous that somebody would make a giant alien cube, make people solve puzzles in it, which is, I assume, what I'm supposed to be doing and what this cube is designed to do. Otherwise, it makes no sense why any of these colored cubes are here at all. Yeah, that just does not make any logical sense if this is not some kind of test. But then it doesn't make any sense why the cube would be breaking apart with every puzzle I solve. Why wouldn't it just shut down or reverse direction? Or send out a signal, or I don't know, speed up and blow up the planet. That's the threat here, isn't it? That the world is going to be blown up. Alright. So, I think with these magnet pieces, what we'll do is we'll just do something like this, and then stop. And we'll see how many spaces each of these would be at. I'm seeing a total of 5 spaces from this point, so I want to be 5 spaces from this point, which seems, I think, to be right here. So if I just let this happen until that, I can put this down, turn this on, and when this is in the right position, turn this off, and look, they're both perfectly in sync. So we can put that up, and that will shoot its green laser there. And we can bring this up, and that will shoot its green laser here. That being said, that just opened the door. I now have to figure out how to get my own body up and to the door, which that may not be too hard. I can probably just stand on this cube and turn on this magnet. Unless this is just too tall, and it is. Okay. Alright, next thing I guess would be to see if I can do this. So now there should be 2 green cubes beneath me, which they would just ever so slightly not far enough. That wasn't down all the way. There's a delay between actions, and because of that I messed up. Alright, now. So now I should be 1 cube taller, and I should be standing on both green cubes to give me the height to get up to this point. And we can just just kind of leave that going forever. And the auto cuts off once we get through that loading room. We still really don't have any options. Like, I can't really change these puzzles. I can't really walk through the gates without them being solved. So, I know there's a level to be said here that the game, in its director's cut version, is adding story to a game that originally had no story. And so I'm kind of willing to forgive some of this. But it kind of sucks too. Alright, I don't know how this is gonna work. Like, if I put this here, that's one. Okay. And what do I do now? Might as well just have that on and then rotate this and see what this does. Yeah, that doesn't do what I want it to do. And that one seems stuck, so it's not going any higher when it really should be. Now it's just floating all over the place. And there's no rotating this. Alright. So one imagines magnetizing something to the floor wouldn't do anything. Right. Both of these should fly up. And then I'm gonna try and lock one, but it really wouldn't work. That'll help a little bit. Okay. Like, yeah, none of this is gonna help anything. I can push this back down. But I would have to now do something, I think, like this to pull it back down. I don't think that's right. How about if we went the other direction? These get a little complicated. But if we see, that just lines everything up exactly in the same line, and I think this is a puzzle that probably circulates around the idea of not having that happen, and instead they want this to be over here on this square and this to be on this square when I set this off, so that they will both fly up at relatively the same time. Right. Right. And it basically has to happen. Oh, you know what I could try is I could try this. I guess that's the solution.
I haven't got much power left, so open your ears. Doubt is like a tiny plant trying to push its way towards the light. But as soon as she sees it poking out of the dirt, she pours on more soothing words to kill it. You're making the cube fall apart. You're going to get to talk to your wife. You're going to get out. You're going to go home. You're going to save the whole earth. That's her poison. And you're drinking it. If you want it to stop, you have to stop it.
Okay, so how do I do that? See, I can't really stop doing what I'm doing right now because there's no other option. But it does feel like we're getting to the end of the game, and that still feels weird because it feels like there were more puzzles in the main game, but the achievements for the main game in this game are exactly the same, so they must just at some point give you the last few puzzles as an escape set of puzzles, like the puzzles at the end of Portal 1 and 2 where you escape from the facility. But yeah, it says we're going to section 5 of 6, and in the main game it was section it's kind of hard to believe this is an alien facility when the elevator breaks. And I guess if we're dead now, so that doesn't mean any. So yeah, I imagine in the main game you wouldn't have had this, but maybe you would have. Maybe you would have not had any of the other dialogue, or maybe even you would have had some of the dialogue and just not everything we've heard up until this point. I know Cube 2 expands in this thought. Was that rock a hologram?
I have faith you can hear me. It's going crazy out there. The outside of the cube is coming away in big chunks. It's incredible. You're doing really, really great. No word on talking to your wife yet, but it'll happen very soon. Don't worry. Other than that, no news at my end. But I figure talking to you is therapeutic. Especially for me, actually. What I said before about how being alone out here can mess with you. It's messed with me too. I can't talk to Mission Control about it, or they'd cut me short. I figure, with your radio out, you can keep a secret. 15 days ago, I was on a spacewalk on the outside of the station. I was replacing one of the old communication antennas. The sun was disappearing over the western edge of the Earth behind me. And it gets so quiet out there, so dark. Sometimes you can't be sure you're there at all. I finish the job, I start to move away, and I hear this voice. Only it's my voice, not in my mouth, not in my head, but outside, next to my ear. It's the only way I can explain it. And the voice, it said, God is dead. And it scared the hell out of me. I grabbed my tether and pulled myself back into the airlock and shut the door. I know it's just my brain keeping itself busy, and that's why we do isolation tests before we go out, but Christ. I'm orbiting out of range. I'm sorry. Keep going. Please keep going.
I'm wondering if perhaps this is a future or alternate world where NASA, or whatever the equivalent of NASA, is populated by a very theocratic society. There's a lot of talk about faith here for a scientist. We've got this new sphere. Looks like it might be something interesting if we actually get to play with it. What does it benefit her for quoting Nietzsche and saying God is dead? I don't know. Like, why bring up that other than to, in an attempt and a hope to show that she has doubts, thus it's okay for you to have doubts, but you should put those doubts behind you and still believe her. Meanwhile, yeah, still not knowing what time this is set in. There sure seems like a lot of electronics here now being hidden behind these cubes, and a lot of things breaking down. The main idea here just really is questionable. Why would this cube fall apart every time I solve a puzzle? Why? Like, is this type of ship so inexpensive that for an alien race that they can just build it for a one-time use? A puzzle? That doesn't make sense. It also does not really correlate with the fact that we've seen other broken puzzles in broken sections of the area. So, other people have been solving puzzles before, probably at least that one other guy, and so wouldn't that mean that the cube has already been slightly broken? Wouldn't it also mean that there's at least a couple of people who have been in this cube before, at least one other person, that seems not to be getting mentioned by the lady? I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that this entire cube is alien. It's run by some AI program, and the AI program is just faking human voices for both, just as an experiment. But faith, doubt, regardless, all I can do is move forward. And often I think maybe this is philosophy 101 to learn from, is that when your path is narrow, it doesn't matter if you believe in God or not, or have faith in something or not, because you can only move forward, or you can stay in one place and die. And if you're going to follow your biological imperative and try to stay alive, if you're not suicidal, you have to go forward. I would say this game has failed to properly tell me that I can walk on this. There should have been more of a point here, because I've clipped through other objects. So every cube is just a giant bundle of wires, it seems. And it seems like they don't really have any connectors to each other, though. So probably not every cube, just a large amount of them are running wires. Wires means computers and machinery, and we're not really seeing anything other than the cube itself requiring electricity or machinery. There's not even wires really connecting to these glowing things, so is it wireless power to the glowing cubes? Possibly. But these are hardly puzzles that would tell an alien much about the human race. You might be able to infer a few things, that they have logic and that they can solve puzzles, that they have the ability to physically manipulate the environment around them in a certain level. They have the ability to manipulate lots of other things. That being said, the only reason I can manipulate any of the cubes are actually because of the fact that I have these gloves on, so it probably would have been better. I hope I'm going the right way and not just I didn't get turned around. I think I am. It probably would have been better if we had found the gloves to start off with. And there's video game design reasons why you might want to always have your character's glove, because that means if you want to imagine the main character as having light skin or dark skin of any ethnicity, you can assume that is true, and the game is not going to break you of that assumption. But storyline wise, I would have set it as, alright, this is a light-skinned hand you're gonna see for one cutscene, or a dark-skinned hand. In fact, there's a puzzle game called The Return of Obra Dinn, and you can choose a male or female voice. You literally only hear the main character's voice in the first like 5 seconds of the game, and that's the only point that it changes. But it was easy enough for him to give that opportunity for you to feel like you were the character you were playing as, and so that's nice. A nice little option. So you could have had at the beginning of this game, we have several different skin tone hands. Choose whatever, choose it in the options. It's not even something you have to ask when you first start the game if you don't want to, and then you put on the gloves and the rest of the game looks exactly the same. I'm jumping around a lot here looking for extra things when there really isn't any. And that entire section, I think, was probably intentionally designed for me to just have listened to the voice the lady talk to me. And again, her talking to me seems to be very infrequent, or infrequent, yes, but inconsistent also. Also, I'm no expert on spacewalks, but I'm pretty sure you don't go on a spacewalk when the sun is still on the horizon, because even though I know they have giant UV filters, I don't think you want to be in the direct radiation and heat of the sun, so they probably only take spacewalks, would be my guess, when the sun is on the other side of Earth, in between you and the International Space Station. I could be wrong about that, and that's certainly something you would see in movies all the time, and TV. It doesn't feel like there's an opportunity here to really believe her as this thing is falling apart. Like, it feels like there should be another path in the story where if you had just been a good little boy and done all the puzzles, all of this wouldn't have been broken, and it really wouldn't have been too much of a different experience if this was just a regularly lit hallway. But I see what they're trying to do here is they've now made several different attempts to do several different environments. This is a good student effort at we're gonna have a consistent theme, but have it change up so the game doesn't feel samey. But there's basically nothing here to do except for play hopscotch. And so if you want to see how high you can get. You can do that, but it's not really doing anything for me. Almost got myself stuck there. And now we're going down a hole. So yeah, it definitely does feel like we're breaking the pathways, whether we want to or not. But this gets us back on a path. We haven't seen a single cube to manipulate, and our gloves change from white to blue, so I'm not sure if that means our gloves are broken now and there's actually nothing we can do. It sure seems like something we can interact with. Well, this is moving way too much for me to supposed to be able to work with that. And nothing over there. Alright. So we can move that. Maybe our gloves really didn't change the blue as much as they just look like they're blue. What happened to the blue thing over there? Seems like I maybe made a signal and caused it to go. No secret thing over here. Suppose the puzzles will get slightly more complicated as we start seeing more rubble. Unlike the Talos Principle game, this is not really a game where you can break out of the environment easily, at least so far from what I've seen. Maybe I'm supposed to just jump. Sometimes the easiest solution is the last one to you'd think of. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to just move that and jump that way. Maybe I'm supposed to jump and swing. Wouldn't it be funny if I electrocuted myself and that was just game over? No. Not really seeing anything there. We've got this red here. And this angle is a little too sharp to believe that I could just jump up here on that. Does this... Oh, I see. I had to hit that to power the red brick. So now, since things are breaking, we are powering the red bricks. And we're assuming we're not electrocuting ourselves? I wish I had seen where that blue orb went, though. It seemed like it just moved out of the way. Seems like we're doing a very Portal-esque ladder system nowadays, too. Instead of being mostly horizontal, a lot of these puzzles are becoming vertical. It looks like that's something, but I don't see really how I could get all the way up there. So maybe I missed something by not walking over the edge while this was happening. And the door locks behind us, of course. So it seems like entire cubes are built around moving things around. And once you hit it, it seems like that's good enough. I don't know what I hit a blue one down there, okay. I mean, we're making progress. Let's just look around this wall and make sure that there's kind of nothing up there. I don't think there is. I'm willing to miss a secret. I don't think it's going to be that difficult to find secrets, frankly, if that's the goal. And I feel like we came through that wall and then the wall closed, and maybe you can't ever get down this section. It does feel like a new game plus in which things didn't break might be interesting, particularly if you're trying to do like a speed run, but it probably wouldn't change too much. So I need the red powered so I can move this to power this, move this to power this, to move probably a couple of these. I probably have to hit all three of them. Let's see. Yeah, doesn't seem. Well, only one of those sides seemed to work. Interesting. But the free physics of this game is just weird. Look at how the cable is not smooth and like a cable would be. Instead it's segmented like a ninja stick would be instead. And so that, like, you have to power the other three. That will hit the other one, I suppose. And so this, I guess, only goes in a circle. So what would this thing have been moving before? Like, what would the puzzle have been? Would there have been a full cube column that you spun around? What would that have done? It seems like we're still doing puzzles and we've just been given a slightly different environment to believe like we're not just still doing puzzles. And that clearly was pre-programmed to work that way. Like, pretty obvious. If I did fall down there, there's nothing really stopping me from falling down here. These ropes don't electrocute me or anything. Just jump all the way around. And even though I know we're probably gonna see more of this, it doesn't really feel like there's much of a difference here. Anyways, I guess that's another 30 minutes, so as always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.